Welcome to Uncle Bob's Magic Cabinet, a mother-daughter podcast on all things magic and pop culture. Three, two, one, and we're on.
I'm present and accounted for.
You were just checking yourself out in the viewfinder.
Dude, I am irritated because of course you come out of the restroom and you're like, hey, I got my hair all, I put the headphones on and then I look in the camera and I look like the frickin', first of all, I've not had a haircut in like a year and a half. So the bun just keeps getting higher, and then
Closer to God.
I look like the Leaning Tower of Pisa when I look in this thing. I'm like, what in the heck? I'm lopsided. My head is lopsided.
You look good.
Hey,
Oh my God. Hey everyone, I'm Leigh. I'm the daughter.
I'm Lori. I'm the mom.
What's up besides your lopsided hair?
Yeah, my head is lopsided. Maybe it's just my head. Maybe it's not the hair.
Maybe it's not the hair. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, what's going on?
I'm so sorry. I went to take a sip of my beverage
That's all right.
as soon as you asked that.
Do it. I feel like there's going to be a lot of beverage today.
There is going to be a lot of beverage today. I need to...
Loosey-goosey. Loosey-goosey.
Loosey-goosey,
It's
baby.
been a stressful week. I feel like we say that every week.
Yeah, I think life is just stressful at this point.
Right. And then we just keep piling more stuff onto our plates.
We do.
Yeah. You have a milestone this week.
Do I?
You do.
Oh, what is it?
I mean, you have some new news.
Oh, yeah. I'm going back to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you started class on Tuesday. Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on top of everything else.
Why not,
Why not?
Why not add a little more spice to the mix?
So feeling a little sleep deprived.
I'm a little sleep deprived. I think it's going to kick my ass a little bit, but I'm ready.
Trying to jog that brain back into scholarly pursuits.
Yeah, I felt so stupid because
Really?
my assignment this week, I had to write a paper. And when you haven't written a paper in I don't know, 8 years, I sat down and was like, my brain doesn't know how to function in that way anymore.
Yeah.
It was like flexing a completely different muscle. So that was fun.
Yeah. That would be difficult because when I look at my notes for just the podcast, I'm like, it's like a kindergartner wrote it. Only I can decipher what's happening there.
I think you should auction off your notebook.
Not auction off my notebook.
We should give it away for a giveaway one time.
It's media.
Who wants these notes? Yeah, it'll be in a museum
Antique.
one day.
Antique, like the Cottingley fairies.
Oh my God. Well, you also have a milestone.
I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm calling you out.
You're calling me out.
Go ahead.
What's my milestone? I started school too.
In Lori and Leigh fashion, we
my
do
gosh.
everything simpatico.
It was not planned.
It was
not planned that way. But I have also decided to go back to school, and we literally started on the same day.
the same day.
Not planned. Not planned.
I said, stop copying me.
You're like,
Stop copying me, Mom.
I'm always stealing your. You're like, when am I going to have my moment, Angus?
Oh. No, we can share the moment. I'm more than happy to share.
Yeah. So hopefully I don't have to write papers, but I'm diving
You're
into
gonna have to.
Ooh. Right now I'm taking a summer chemistry intensive, and I feel like my head is going to explode.
Yeah, my brain can't compute math. I'm not going to act like it can't.
Math is not my favorite.
So we all know I can't pronounce things. Common sense has left the chat in regards to me, and math is not there either.
Right. Well, and also because of COVID, the reason I decided to go back to school was to get hands-on with the plants. And
Probably wrong time to do that.
COVID has me on the computer, which if you've been following us for any length of time, you know that I stink at computers.
She asked me how to copy and paste something the other day. I said, girl, you really gonna have to Take
that probably should have been the first class. Go learn
Computer 101.
Computer 101. This is how you turn it on. I know. And you're like, you can't be asking me this stuff.
I said, figure it out. No, I helped you.
You did.
But I'm not going to help you again.
No, I got to figure it out.
Love, baby.
You know, it's pretty bad when you write down notes in your notebook on how to copy and paste. Highlight. Yeah, I know.
I saw you do it. I was like,
I know. I can't, because I am a visual. And it's, computers.
You're going to be just fine. You'll get the hang of it.
It's scary.
You can do it.
You can do it. You can do it. Yeah. So,
speaking of that voice you just made, we had a long conversation about how we both tend to like use a specific accent.
We had a long conversation about this because I obviously, when the episode drops, I go on and I take a little tune in and I listen because, I started doing it because I thought, at least me and you, or you and I, would at least be one stream of the podcast.
Way to go, grammar. Okay.
Yeah, way to go, grammar. Hello, English. So it was like, okay, well, I'll listen but then I was like, now it's like, okay, maybe I better jot down some notes, things to do and things not to do. Yeah. So I noticed that what we had talked about this because you are used to being in the front of the business.
Yeah.
Social media and all that kind of stuff. And I tend to hit the background. I'm outside with the plants and that's my spiel.
It's your time to shine. Yeah.
So I am not comfortable sitting here. Right. Doing this. And so I noticed that when I get nervous, I'm like, what is that crazy voice I'm making?
You're talking like a Southern accent.
I was like, what the heck is it? But it's not Southern. I don't know
what it is.
I don't know any Southern person that talks like that.
Not to offend any Southern.
I'm like, what is that? It's completely made up.
I can't place it.
I figured it out.
Okay,
I figured it out. Yes. I sound like, and you won't know this is a throwback, but I sound like Walter Brennan from The Real McCoys. Have you ever seen that show? It's an old one. Have you seen it?
I have, a long time ago.
Yeah, it's old. It's really old. I think I used to watch it with my grandfather.
I was going to say, I know my grandfather used to watch it.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's exactly who I sound like, and that's not a good thing.
I say roll with it. It's not something you just do on here. You do it in person, when we're chatting. You do it.
I think it's a nervous tick when I'm uncomfortable.
It might be. Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm. Yeah.
You sound like Paul Rudd in I Love You Man when he's slapping the bass.
Slapping the bass, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a little Irish leprechaun, and he's
trying to do a Jamaican accent, but he can't get out of the leprechaun. That's what you sound like. The same accent sounds. Every accent sounds the same.
I know. Yeah. So I really am going to be cognizant and.
No, I think don't lose it.
Oh, really?
Don't lose it. Stay gold, pony boy. Stay true to you.
Keep it going. Yeah. Yeah. So, but just, so we're aware. That is, I think, a nervous tick.
Yeah, we're aware of it. We hear it. We get it.
Thanks.
Someone called me out for saying super cool all the time.
Oh, yeah. So
I can't help it.
We're supposed to drink.
We're supposed to drink every time I say super cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna be listening for that.
I was going to say, we've got our trusty beverages.
We do. We need them today. I think my head's going to explode. Your head's going to explode.
But I'm ready.
I am ready.
I'm ready.
I picked some, light and fun.
Did you?
Discussion today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine's kind of dark and mysterious.
Is it?
Yeah, I know. I tend to pick the if you're just tuning in.
Yeah.
And you don't know us. I like horror and Halloween, so my choices seem to lean that way. I don't do it on purpose, but that's just what I'm interested in.
Right.
And then I'm like,
and
I should probably
I don't know which way I lean. Where do I go?
Plants. I don't know.
Well, plants, yeah. And then
you're more light, and I'm more spooky.
Yeah. Light. Yeah, you are spooky. Yeah. Although I am missing Halloween today. I have my Halloween t-shirt on. Because I'm over the summer bull, and
it's hot.
It's hot and muggy and uncomfortable, and I'm just not a summer gal.
I'm not either.
No.
Again, I think I would be if I had a pool near me, but even then, I think I like fall. I just want to go where it's fall all the time.
If my bed were on a pool Yeah. I could just, sleep
24/7.
24/7 because it's uncomfortable.
I hate being hot.
I don't like it either.
I like to be chilly, and I like to wrap up in a little blanket.
I like to wear sweatshirts and sweaters, and this not my
this
jam.
Isn't it. This is not the vibe.
No, so I'm kind of over it, and I'm ready for my pumpkin spice lattes.
A latte.
Lattes. And
here's a fun little story. I was a barista for some time, and I had this one customer that would always come up to me and ask for a chai latte.
A chai latte.
A chai latte.
I know you say that all the time.
All the time. So now I call chai lattes chai lattes.
A chai latte.
May I have a chai latte? No, I'd always be like, what? Yeah, sure.
Coming right up.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to bring a little Halloween spooky vibe to you today.
Are you? Well, I'm excited about that.
Because I have been missing it, and I figured you need a little Halloween vibe.
I need a little Halloween vibe, although you said today. Today. Because you're on social media threads that tell you exactly when the Halloween goodies hit the stores.
Yeah, they're at some stores right now.
July. It is July, people.
As of right now, there are 111 days till Halloween.
That's correct. Right?
So
countdown. That's long.
If I had my way, Halloween stuff would be in the stores 24/7. So
why not the Christmas stuff is? Ugh. Right on.
No thanks.
Yeah.
So my topic today isn't necessarily Halloween, but it's always associated with Halloween and spooky things. I am doing Edgar Allan Poe.
Ooh, wonderful.
Ooh,
2 enthusiastic thumbs up. All right. Cool. I'm excited.
Me too. I love Poe. You know this.
You have always loved Poe.
I have since I was little.
Since you were little.
I've always loved his stories and poetry. I don't know him personally.
Yeah. I remember one year for Christmas, your stocking was filled with like Edgar Allan Poe socks, and you had Edgar Allan Poe Band-Aids.
I still have them.
Do you really?
Yeah, they were too cute. I didn't want to use them.
I'm gushing blood profusely. That's all right. Don't use my Poe Band-Aids.
Those are too important.
Too important.
I'll bleed out.
Put them in a shadow box, hang them on the wall.
I know, like, what am I going to do with them? They came in a cute tin. I don't know. But yeah, so I've always been interested with him. And so I figured a lot of his stories contain magic. And since that's what we're talking about here, I said, that's
what we're talking about.
Let's bring them on.
Right on.
Are you ready?
Dude, I am strapped in the coaster and ready to roll.
That was a good one. Okay. You caught me off guard there with that one. That was good. Okay, so Edgar Allan Poe was born in Boston on January 19th, 1809. Now, that means he's a Capricorn Aquarius cusp. You know I was going to bring this in.
Oh, yes.
But born on the same day as Mac Miller.
Wow, your favorite.
And I love Mac Miller.
You love Mac Miller, who is from Pittsburgh.
Yes, anyone from Pittsburgh, I'm sure you know of Mac Miller. Yeah, Capricorn Aquarius cusp. I'm not mad at that. I know I rag on Capricorns a lot, but cool cusp.
Yeah, that is a cool cusp.
If you believe in cusps.
Yeah.
He attended the University of Virginia, but also spent time in Philly, New York, and Baltimore, hence the Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh, fun. Well, we also know that he did have a home in Philly because we were there. We visited.
We were there. It was a little bit of a stretch. I'm not going to lie, Philly. We went in there. They have an Edgar Allan Poe museum.
Yeah.
And I think he lived there for like a month or something.
I don't care. It was cool.
They're like, he touched this napkin. Let's put it behind plexiglass.
Girl, you know I'm all about a gift shop, and they had some good gifts.
They did have a good... I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It was pretty cool. Go check it out.
Well, the whole outside of the house was a mural.
Yes.
Like a mural of him.
Yeah.
That was cool. I liked it. I have pictures. Yep.
Way to go.
Yep.
Gold star. Yeah, it was cool. It was free too. So if you're in the Philly area and you need something fun to do, well, I don't know if they're open right now, but they might be soon.
Yeah, check it out.
Check it out. I thought it was interesting that the Baltimore Ravens, that's how they got their name. I did not know that because I don't like sports.
I think I learned that in the museum.
Oh, was I not paying attention?
You probably weren't. That's probably why you didn't think it was super cool.
I know. I was like, what? No, I do recall it was kind of, remember the basement?
Creepy.
Spooky basement. Yeah, some stuff was going on there.
Bye-bye.
Okay, speaking of spooky, his life was plagued with death. His mother died when he was only 2 years old. His first love died when he was 15. His foster mother died at 20. He is known for his contributions to the sci-fi and horror genres. If you, I don't know, have been living under a rock and you don't know who Edgar Allan Poe is, he is a writer. Did I say that?
You didn't, but thanks for that clarification.
You are welcome.
Yes.
His famous works include The Fall of the House of Usher, The Pit and the Pendulum, The Mask of the Red Death.
Oh, yeah. So these are all Vincent Price flicks, which we know I love Vincent Price. So.
Your ad-libs are cracking me up every time.
I'm excited. I'm like, ooh, good movie. Good movie.
You're like, ooh, yeah.
Because I'm recollecting the Vincent Price portrayals. Yeah.
Well, I'm paving the way so that you can hopefully do a Vincent Price episode at some point.
Girl, you know it's on there.
And The Telltale Heart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he has a ton of poems. Jake used to read me Poe poems at night because I used to have a hard time sleeping because I had a lot of nightmares. And,
and that helped.
Let's read some Edgar Allan Poe.
It'll make your nightmares pale in comparison.
I'm not kidding, though. He would get 2 sentences in and I'd be like...
kind of like
put me to sleep.
Kind of like when
in a good way.
Remember when you were little and I would want to get you to sleep and you'd be like up running around like a rambunctious little fool, and then I'd be like,
Princess Bride, in, out in 2 seconds. You have yet to see that movie the whole way through. I've seen it, but like
just pieces.
You know what I said to Jake the other day that he never realized that I do? Sometimes I'll fall asleep, but we'll be watching something and he'll ask me a question and I'll wake up and act like I've been awake the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hilarious.
I'll be like, ha, like I'll wake up and laugh and then go back to bed.
Like you're trying to pull one over on everybody.
Yeah, like
I've been awake.
I haven't been sleeping this
Meanwhile, you're
time. He's like, I don't think I realized you were doing that. I thought you were just awake. I'm like, nope. Oh my God. So instead of focusing on like Poe's life, because, you know, that's kind of boring, I'm going to pick one of his, well, I mean, it's not boring, but I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to talk about The Raven.
Ooh, good one.
Ooh, yeah. Yes. It was published in 1845. Sometimes it's weird to think about how long ago that was, isn't it?
Yeah. Long time.
Whole different world.
I was just a wee lass then.
I was just a thought. Oh my God. Okay, so The Raven is a poem.
Yes.
Again, published in 1845, and it is known for its ominous tone, hypnotic rhythm, and supernatural atmosphere.
I love it.
I do too. And you know I love ravens and crows. So
you so do.
I
they
know.
have always followed you. You've seen them. Sometimes it's not a good thing. Okay.
Well,
then I'll just keep my lips shut.
Zip it.
Zip it.
Okay, so this poem made Poe a household name. However, it did not bring him much financial success, and it only earned him around $15. But this is, so in his lifetime, this is the poem that like made him famous.
Correct.
But no money. He was poor almost his entire life.
I know. I learned that at the museum.
Okay, you know what? Stop it. Okay, so the story is about a man descending into madness and a talking raven. Okay, it opens with a young, scholarly man sitting in a library of old books, and he is reading about old lores, supposedly about black magic and the occult. It's suspected.
But not confirmed.
Not confirmed by Poe, who died many years ago.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Okay. He is reading to try to bury his sorrow over the loss of his love, Lenore. He's reading and dreaming of her when there is a rapping at the door. I love that part. There was a rapping. And I'm going to bring it up. You know they repeat this poem in the movie The Crow.
They do. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Do I want to say there's a supernatural episode?
About Edgar Allan Poe?
I think so. About no, it's in the Gilmore Girls. Remember when the Poe Society comes and everybody decides to do the Raven?
Oh my God, yes. I remember that. Love that.
Yeah.
We love the Gilmore Girls here. Okay, so there's a rapping at the door. He opens it, but there's nothing but darkness. So he goes, shrugs it off. There's another rapping. He shrugs it off again, but then a raven flies through his window. Ooh, spooky. Okay, it perches above his chamber door on a bust of Pallas Athena. I hope I'm saying this right. Y'all know me by now. Chances are slim. Chances are slim. But she is the Greek goddess of wisdom. So that is supposed to show that, one, the man is scholarly.
Right.
But also the raven.
Correct.
Okay. The raven's only response when the man asks him questions. So the man tries to talk to him and says, like, what are you doing here? What's your name? And the only thing the raven has to say is nevermore.
Right.
Okay. So I'm sure
the raven.
I was going to say, I'm sure you've heard quoth the raven nevermore. Okay. He continues to ask questions, including, will he ever be reunited with his love, Lenore? Of course, the raven responds nevermore. The man gets mad and starts to kind of descend more into sorrow and sadness. And the poem ends with the narrator saying he is doomed to live in the shadow of the raven forever. So the raven never leaves the bust.
Wow.
It's kind of sad.
Is it stuffed?
What?
Is it a stuffed raven?
No, it's real. But the raven is said to represent in this poem depression, death, sorrow, and constant remembrance.
Oof, and he never leaves? Gosh, that sucks.
Because he loved Lenore and she died.
Yeah.
Yeah, sad.
That sucks.
Sorry to be a Debbie Downer here.
Lenore was the name of his wife? Or no?
Jacob?
No.
I thought Jake's checking it. Tap, tap.
So Lenore is fictional.
Yeah, but in a lot of his poems, when he writes about a lost love, he's talking about his wife, Virginia, was her name. Yeesh.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that's the poem, but I kind of wanted to discuss ravens and crows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Magical beings.
I'm sure a lot of you have seen them on Halloween decorations. They're kind of always associated, and so is Poe. Now, Poe is associated with Halloween and spooky things because most of his poems are spooky and scary.
Yeah.
I suggest going and picking up, like, we have a big collection of, like, all of his stories and poems. I'm going to say it. Take a sip. Super cool.
Super cool. Ooh, I'm taking a sip.
Take a sip. If you like Halloween and that kind of vibe,
right,
read some Poe.
Right.
Maybe before bed like me.
Maybe.
It comforts me at night.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm weird. Okay.
Where are you? Go ahead. I'm not going to say it yet. I'm going to wait. Go ahead.
Okay. So ravens and crows are known to be a bird of paradox.
Okay.
Because they can represent totally opposite things depending on, where in the world the mythology is coming from or the person. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So they can represent a source of knowledge and insight. They can be mediators between life and death. They can be guardians, or they can be seen as an ill omen.
Right.
Okay. A group is referred to an unkindness of ravens.
Really?
Yes. And do you know what that's from?
Yeah. One Tree Hill.
Yes.
Hello.
Lucas Scott writes the book, An Unkindness of Ravens. And that's true. Like, so a group of ravens is called an unkindness. And a group of crows is called a murder of crows.
I didn't know that. I did not know. Yeah. The other one. Good. Interesting.
Interesting. So they are very intelligent birds, and they're playful.
Yeah. Oh, fun.
I know. I love them. Like, I honestly love them. I think that they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so why are they associated with death is kind of what I wanted to go into a little bit. So the kind of obvious one is that they are scavenger birds.
Right.
So if you see something dead on the side of the road, chances are a crow is going to be there because they eat.
Right. I mean, and they're big, and they're, big black birds, and their eyes
are piercing. I know.
Piercing.
But so, like, in the olden times, back in the day, in battlefields, so there would be, the aftermath of a battle, and there would be thousands of dead bodies, and crows would be everywhere. Yeah. So they kind of started to have that association where there is death, you will find a crow.
Right.
Okay, but I kind of wanted to talk about history and different mythologies.
Okay, cool.
And what they mean. Because, again, with the paradox, they can mean different things. Okay, so they pop up in Native American mythology, Japanese mythology. They pop up in the Bible, and a ton of other, different cultures. But I'm only going to focus on a few.
Okay.
Okay, so in Greek mythology, ravens or crows are associated with Apollo, who is the god of prophecy.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
All right, I like that.
So the story is that Apollo sent a white raven or crow. They're kind of...
Is there a white raven?
Well, they used to be white, according to this legend. Okay.
Ooh.
So he
in the Greek mythology.
Yes, he sent a white raven to spy on his lover. When the raven came back with the news that she had been unfaithful, Apollo scorched the bird in his anger, turning his feathers black. And that is why crows and ravens are black.
Why is it got to be hating on the raven?
It wasn't his fault.
It wasn't his fault.
He didn't cheat on you.
He's just a messenger.
Right. So they are seen as a symbol of bad luck because of this.
Okay.
In Greek mythology.
Gotcha.
In Norse mythology, they are associated with the god Odin. And I hope...
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
That is correct.
I'm just going to give the little... I will probably butcher some words. I do not mean to offend if I do. Okay, god Odin, who had 2 companion ravens. Their names were, here we go again, Hugin and Munin, or Huggin and Munnin.
It's one of those.
It's one of those two.
I kind of like the Huggin and Munnin.
Huggin and Munnin. I don't think it's that. I think it's Hugin and Munin.
Right. Yeah.
So Hunin translates to thought and Munin translates to memory.
Okay.
So Odin trusted these birds and gave them the power of speech.
Nice.
Yes, so each day he would send them out and have them report back what they saw and heard over the village, bringing the truth to Odin's ears. So they are known as the truth tellers in Norse mythology.
I like that. I wonder if Edgar Allan Poe researched these things.
So apparently the Norse mythology is where he was kind of taking, because they were truth tellers and the bird was a messenger.
Right, telling the truth and had the gift of speech.
Correct.
Nice.
So in Celtic mythology, which I threw in here just for you because I knew you would like it.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? I'm about to butcher it. It is said that the goddess of battle and war, Morgan, or is it just Morgan?
Morgan.
Okay. Would fly over battlefields in the form of a raven. Therefore, ravens became associated with warfare and death.
I like it.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Here is, I think, the most interesting one, which I did not know before this. The others I have heard before. So this is Welsh mythology. Bran the Blessed.
Right.
Is that right?
Yep.
Bran translates directly to crow or raven. Okay, so Bran the Blessed. His symbol is a raven.
Right.
The myth involves Bran ordering for his own head to be severed. But the head can still live and talk without the body.
Right.
So the head is revered as like a prophecy teller.
Right.
And they revere this severed head. Isn't that, did you know that?
I did.
I didn't know that.
I did know that, yeah.
Apparently this comes up, I have never, I'm about to make a lot of people hate me. I have never seen Game of Thrones.
I have not either.
But apparently this mythology comes up in Game of Thrones.
Oh, interesting.
Which intrigues me a little.
Yeah. Everybody tells me, specifically our many, many years. It's been about 20 years now that we've been involved with the Renaissance Festival. And so it's just kind of a no-brainer that you would have dived into this.
Right.
The same with the Highlander. And I just have not. I feel like that's something you really have to invest in. It would be a binge-worthy watch or something. And
I completely agree.
And I'm like, ooh, I got too much on my plate right now to dive into. I did watch the first episode of The Highlander on a recommendation from my friend. And it's like, ooh, I'm going to like this. They talked about all kinds of plants. And I'm like, but I just have to. That's like a winter you're snowed in.
Yes.
You got like 3 days where there's nothing to do.
Or like maybe I have a little cold and I need to be bedridden and I'm going to jump in.
Or you're under quarantine with a pandemic, but no.
Well, yeah, we missed the perfect time.
Darn it.
Well, that's kind of the thing with Game of Thrones. I feel like by the time I had any interest in watching it, it was already so far in that I had heard.
Yeah.
Like,
what are there, like 10 seasons or something to that?
No, I don't think, but I don't know. I know that every episode is like a movie. Like it's their big productions. Jake's parents watched it and loved it and said that we would love it and maybe one day we'll check it out. But yeah, I thought it was interesting that supposedly Bran, that mythology pops up, and so do like ravens and crows.
Right.
So what do you think about that?
I think it's interesting. I think ravens and crows are just so super cool. I don't look at them as a bad omen. Well,
I don't either.
Sometimes your experience has been they definitely come to you.
So for me personally, I feel like I'm very connected to animals. Period.
You are the animal whisperer.
Why, thank you. And ever since I was little, crows, I just feel very connected to crows, and I'm always paying attention when they're around. Like I kind of take them as a sign, and whether it's my personal prerogative. Okay. Right. If I see an unkindness of ravens, I think that's interesting that has that name, because I do. If I see like an absurd amount, I get
a little anxious,
like something's about to go wrong, and normally it does.
Yeah. Right.
So take from that what you will, but there are I see crows all the time. If I just see a few or one, I take that as like
and
a good sign.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you could say, well, that could be anybody, but it's funny because they don't follow Jake. His is a hawk. Hawks follow him everywhere.
Yep.
Which is interesting.
And it's it's what you tune into. So yeah, they might be around you, but are you tuning into that? Like me personally, I know that like there's a message. There's a message in there for me. So
take heed.
I think they kind of have a bad rap.
Oh, they're beautiful.
They're beautiful. And I didn't know. And I mean, I kind of knew, but I had never read that they were super intelligent.
Right. Oh, I did know that. Yeah.
So I think that's cool. I think so, again, with the association with death, because they're kind of, they're scavengers and they're jet black, and that's always associated with bad things. But that's why they're known as the bird of paradox, because they're either known as they're either revered,
something very dark, or something to be respected and, take notice.
So either. So I love that. I think it's cool that they pop up in a bunch of different mythologies.
Oh, yeah.
Love that. So if you're interested in that, maybe go and give that a read. But I did, while I was not discussing Poe's entire life, I did want to bring up his mysterious death a little bit.
That is what I was going to ask you. Yeah, that is what I was like, are you going to touch on that? Because that was messed up.
I'm going to touch on it. Now, there is a movie called The Raven,
with my favorite actor of all time,
with John Cusack.
He did a great job.
I plan on doing that in a completely different episode.
Wonderful.
Because the movie's fantastic. Yeah. And it's based on his stories, and they tie it in. Yeah. But I'm going to touch on the mysterious death a little bit here, because I think there's some things that you don't know.
Oh, I don't know. All right. Okay. I did read we just talked about this yesterday, and we said that the three of us traveling together is hilarious because you're in the middle. Jake is like, I'm out, go. And I have to stop and read like every placard and it's, I put everybody to sleep, but I read every placard in the museum. So I might know.
You might know. I was a little like, what am I going to have for lunch?
All right. Tell me. Hit me.
So in 1849, he was found wandering around delirious in Baltimore, Maryland, and was rushed to the hospital. And he died a few days later at 5 a.m. on October 7th. Okay. No one knows what caused his death, and no one knows why he was in such a distressed, like he was literally delirious.
Right.
Now, apparently, he had problems with opium and he had problems with alcohol. However, he had been completely sober,
right,
leading up, like the years leading up to his death. So, and the coroner or whatever was like, no,
there was nothing.
There was nothing.
Right.
Okay.
Which kind of negates the theory that he was poisoned.
Right, but here is something I had not heard before. Have you heard of the term, let me find it in my notes, cooping?
No.
Okay. Cooping is a form of voter fraud where essentially gangs kidnap people, drug them up, and have them vote multiple times how they want in an election. So it's a way for them to win an election. Yeah. So people had seen him a little delirious and out of it at a polling place days before. So they think that he was a victim of this cooping, that someone had kidnapped him,
right, drugged
him up.
But wouldn't the coroner have found drugs? I thought they did not find any drugs in his system.
They didn't find alcohol.
Ew.
From what I have read. Now, I don't know how stuff was back then. I don't know if they had the
technology.
Yeah.
I mean, there are things that are hard to detect. I mean, maybe not today, but back then, like arsenic or something like that. But it's interesting. Right. It's interesting to note that he was not living in Baltimore. He was on a trip.
He was, I think, on his way to Philadelphia, from what I read. Yeah. On his way to Philly.
Yeah.
So other theories include suicide, murder, influenza, and the cooping, like I mentioned, which that is something I had never heard about.
But it still to this day remains a mystery, which just
still
then
a mystery.
Adds to his air of mystery.
Correct.
Surrounding him. Yeah.
Correct. So, okay, he was buried, this is really sad, in an unmarked grave on like his family's land. Only 7 people came to his funeral.
That's devastating.
I am really sad. Now, I don't know anything about him personally. Maybe he was I really don't know. But
sad.
That would be a little sad. But they moved him. I guess a bunch of teachers years later wanted to give him like a monument. And so they moved him to a separate plot in Baltimore in 1875. Now, during the move, his coffin broke and his remains scattered about. And isn't that, I know that that's maybe just, I hope that's not a common. I hope that's not a common thing, but because he's such a mysterious, that to me was like, what the heck?
I don't think it's a common thing nowadays, but back then they were made out of wood and they just decayed in the ground.
Apparently, you can buy pieces of said coffin.
Shut the front door.
Apparently,
what?
I'm not going to. No, thank you.
No,
you can
I'll
keep
pass
that.
On that.
But now there's a big monument that you can go and visit in Baltimore, and his wife and mother-in-law are buried next to him.
Nice.
So added to the list.
Yeah. Well, at least he wasn't Dorothy Parker, you know. Her ashes were in a filing cabinet for years.
Oh, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was like, what?
I love Dorothy Parker. I think in her will, she left her, estate to her manager. I think. I'm not clear on every single detail, but, and I just read something where something's coming up about it. So you might read something about it. But yeah, he kept her ashes in his filing cabinet for like years.
Well.
Yeah. But she left her entire estate to Martin Luther King.
Wow.
To Martin Luther King.
Okay, you're throwing me for a loop here.
I know, I'm sorry. I go off on a tangent. I don't know.
What?
See, I am a pit of worthless information.
No, now someone's going to be maybe someone's going to be like, in a trivia contest and someone's going to say, where were Dorothy Parker's ashes?
In a filing cabinet.
And they're going to be like, oh my God.
I know this one.
You are welcome.
You will not stump me.
Okay, so that is Edgar Allan Poe and The Raven.
I love that. That's great.
Thank you. I was really into that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you have loved Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, you have a really nice book collection of Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're some of my prized possessions. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got its own corner.
He has his own cabinet.
Yeah, he does, right?
Yeah. All right. So, voila.
Am I up?
It's your turn. Now I'm strapped into the coaster and I'm ready to go.
You ready to go, girl? You ready to go? All right. So I decided that this has been long overdue. And I felt like, we're 10, I don't know how many episodes we are in.
This is 10? the 10th episode.
This is the 10th episode. Woo, celebrate.
Up top.
Yeah, girl. All right. So we mention very often in our discussions, it's just kind of like, did you, brush your teeth today? Yeah. Oh, I was at Lilydale, right? So I decided that we probably should do an episode on Lilydale because we bring it up so often.
I'm ready.
Right? And I just figure that everybody knows what Lilydale is. So here we go.
I think that is incorrect.
I'm specifically tapping into, to make it pop culture-y and tie the magic in. I'm doing Supernatural, Season 7, Episode 7, that aired in 2011, and it's called The Mentalists, and it takes place in Lilydale.
You love Supernatural.
I do love Supernatural. Yes. So, here we go. You ready?
I am
ready.
I
wanted to give a little history about exactly what Lilydale is before I go into the episode. Okay. So, Lilydale is in New York, the southwestern part of New York, 1 hour southwest of Buffalo, just so you can kind of get an idea. It was founded in 1879, so this year marks its 141st season.
Whoa. Okay.
Crazy, right?
That's cool.
So it is the largest spiritual community in the world.
The world?
The world.
Oh, I thought just the United States.
No, the world. I'm sorry. I have to adjust a little bit. I know Jake's going to be like, I'm going to kick your butt. Okay. So, it's like, well, what is a spiritualist community? So it's an international member organization and a residential community. Is what Lilydale is.
Okay.
And it is comprised of people who practice the faith of spiritualism. So we kind of wanted to go into Lilydale because we had talked about the Cottingley fairies in the last episode.
Yeah.
And we talked about spiritualism and all that good stuff. So we already know what spiritualism is, right?
Tell me again. You don't have it written down, do you?
It is a religious practice based on the communications with the dead, specifically through mediums. And they believe that death is not like a static, you're progressing on the other side.
Okay.
And it was in its heyday in the 1840s through the 1920s. So Lilydale established 1879.
Right in the thick of it.
Right. And at first, in 1879, it was known as the Cassadaga Lake Free Association. In 1903, they changed the name to the City of Lights. And then in 1906, it officially became Lilydale. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, a residential community comprised of people who practice the faith of spiritualism, which is applied through prayer, meditation, healing, and mediumship. Okay.
Love it.
So like a church service there is like a networking event for dead people. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
it
description.
Really is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I saw that somewhere in my research. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. Yeah.
She's like, I took that.
I got to give credit. Yeah. So there are 169 homes in Lilydale, and it is surrounded by 144 acres of old growth forest adjacent to the Cassadaga Lake region. Population of Lilydale, 275.
Really?
Yeah.
Or really, can they name the population? Because there's a lot of dead people.
They don't count.
Oh, they don't count though. Okay.
No, because they can't
pay taxes.
They can't take the census.
Okay.
So it is literally an idealized version of small town America. And that is really what this is.
Yeah.
Right? So it is a residential neighborhood 365 days out of the year. However, in June through September, you can pull up to the gates of Lilydale and you can come in and you pay a fee, and it's changed over the years. It used to be like $10. I think it's a lot more than that.
Used to be cheap.
Used to be really cheap. And I don't think it's like super ridiculous, but it has.
Did they move up to 15?
I think they may have. So June through September, for a fee, you come in and you can enter and experience this little hamlet, which is, mediums and spiritual practices. There's all kinds of stuff going on in there. Classes. It's ridiculous. So every year they get about 22,000 people through the gates just in those 3 months.
Okay.
Right? So if you're looking for something fun to do, guys, we have gone there so many times.
I'm not kidding. Our fan base really wants to do, obviously probably next year when the pandemic is hopefully over, they want to do a meetup.
Well, yeah, because we were thinking about trying to go and film there this episode, but everything's still pretty shut down because of the COVID-19. So that wasn't going to happen. And I didn't want to wait too long to do this just because we mention it so often, because really we have spent so much time there. We have we pull from a lot of experiences in Lilydale. So to live there in Lilydale, like if you wanted to go live there, you would have to be a registered member of the Lilydale Assembly and the Mediums League. Okay, so I think you have to be, I think to live there you have to be a spiritualist. But to be a medium there.
Oh, right.
Because they have registered mediums and they have visiting mediums. Okay, so to be a registered medium on the grounds of Lilydale and live there, you have to be a member of the Assembly and a member of the Mediums League. And so what that means is that each medium has to be tested and vetted to ensure the highest quality of mediumship. So they have to test in front of all of the people that are already registered and
no hoax here.
Get the stamp of approval. Yeah. Right. So you can be a visiting medium, and that means that you can come and visit there and you can give messages at the messaging services at the Forest Temple or at the Inspiration Stump.
Which are free.
Yeah,
so you should say that. So there are free services that you can go, at the stump, like you said, and you'll just sit down and if they want to come to you, they'll come to you. Or you can go and pay for a private.
Right. And we talk about that in a little bit.
Oh, so, my bad.
Jumping ahead, girl.
I'm just going to shut up.
That's all right.
We always do that to each other.
I know. But so that's the basic little rundown of what Lilydale is. You got it pictured in your mind?
I'm there. Okay. It's pictured. I want to go right now.
There we go.
Okay.
So now take me in to this episode of Supernatural. I love Supernatural, but this episode kind of grinds my gears just a little bit. Because I love it, but it's so ridiculous. Okay.
Okay.
It's always driving me a little crazy because I'm a stickler for details.
Yes.
I am so detail oriented. It drives me crazy.
Hello, Virgo.
Yeah, exactly. I have right here my Virgo brain. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So here's the premise. Mediums are being murdered in Lilydale. Okay.
Okay.
Which is the most psychic town in America. Okay.
Okay.
So the first one to bite it is Imelda. We don't see her, but she gets brained. She gets her head smashed in with her
crystal.
She gets brained. She gets her head smashed in, her brains bashed in with her crystal ball.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Original.
And then it opens with Grandma Goldie.
Grandma Goldie,
that's her name. And in true stereotypical fashion, we've got the bracelets and it's the whole thing, right? She's doing a seance and using a Ouija board. She's got the people there, and the planchette picks up off the ground and just cuts her. She's done. In the throat.
Goodbye, Grandma Goldie.
Grandma Goldie, you out. Right?
Okay.
So,
but you know what? Side note, that's not a bad way to go.
Really?
For me, that's cool.
That would hurt.
It's better. Well, yeah, it wouldn't feel great, but it's better than the boring death of dying alone in your bed. I got killed by a Ouija board.
Dude, I'll take
Is that just me?
I'll take the boring. Just let me fall asleep and that's the end of it. Right? Okay, so then Dean comes to investigate. I'm not going to go too much into the whole episode because I want to talk more about Lilydale. But basically, him and Sammy have had a fight and they were on their solo paths. So he shows up at Lilydale and lo and behold, so is Sammy there, right? But he goes to investigate Grandma Goldie's death and realizes there's all kinds of buttons under her seat, to make the curtains fly and the lights flicker and,
What a shame. Supernatural.
Supernatural, come on. So then he goes to the cafe called the Good Graces Cafe.
That's not what it's called.
No, it's not. Where everyone is wearing, tie-dye and, they're all woo-woo, as he calls it. And it looks like a remodeled Denny's in there. We know that is not what's happening at the real Lily Dale. So, there's two things that kind of, you pull up when they get to Lily Dale and it looks like a freaking strip mall, or an outlet store, which we know is not what Lily Dale looks like.
Okay.
Right. And so they're trying to figure out who is doing these killings. The other guy, his name is Nikolai, and he's a spoon bender, which we know they do at Lily Dale. They have classes on spoon bending.
They'll teach you how to bend a spoon.
It is on my bucket list. But apparently these mediums are having visions of their own death. So Nikolai has a vision that he's going to die, and instead of playing with the spoons that day, he decides to play with forks and knives. And guess what?
Seems smart.
He gets impaled.
Seems legit.
And he's gone. He's a goner.
Okay.
And then there's another gal who is a friend of the girl interest for Dean, and her friend is like a Miss Cleo reincarnation. You remember Miss Cleo?
I do, yes.
So I had to look her up because she, from 1997 to 2003, she was on this infomercial called The Psychic Network.
I
where
remember
you would pay.
that. Well, I don't know how, but I remember those.
Right. And she would, do these tarot card readings and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But, it was a big scam. And so,
well,
burp, burp. But yeah, so when somebody says Miss Cleo, so this gal was kind of like her, and she had a vision of her own death, and there was a woman that was like choking her, and it was a ghost.
Oh.
So the girl says, well, I think I've seen her somewhere before. So Dean and Sam go off to the museum, which looks like the Taj Mahal. I mean, there's a gift shop.
I love a gift shop.
It was all decked out. It was beautiful. Now we know. Again, we're going to talk about that. Not what it looks like in Lily Dale. So they end up coming across this display of pictures that is called like the siblings wall. Okay. And they see this picture of two guys called the Campbell brothers, and they are famous psychics, famous mediums. Okay. And then they see the picture that they recognize as killing Cleo, the Cleo wannabe, right?
Okay.
And he says, well, who's this person? And he says, well, that's the Fox sisters. Okay. So,
oh no.
Right. So we're going to get into that. So, but just keep these things in your mind. So the Campbell brothers, the Fox sisters. So in true supernatural, form, they go ahead and dig up the bones and salt them. But they come across this guy. His name is Jimmy Tomorrow, and he owns the Emporium, which is where he sells like tchotchkes of the supernatural kind.
I also love a tchotchke.
Right, don't you? And here he has put a binding spell on one of the Fox sisters to do his bidding because he's a little peeved that he's the real deal and these other people are, they're fakes.
Gotcha.
And so he's killing all of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they get rid of her. And that's pretty much the end of the episode, right? But I wanted to go through because I know we talk a lot also, and I just wanted to make some clarifications because we sling a lot of words around, and I just wanted to be clear for my own sake. But we have a medium, we have a psychic, we have a clairvoyant.
Okay.
Right. So a medium is a person through whom the spirits of the dead are able to contact the living.
Right.
Right. So it's just like a phone. The medium is a phone. Mm-hmm. Right. They're just giving the message.
Right.
A psychic is a person who is sensitive to the influences or forces of a non-physical or supernatural nature.
Okay.
Okay. And a clairvoyant is having the power to see things beyond the range of natural vision. Gotcha. Okay. So
there's a little thunderstorm that just came through.
Do you think it's Edgar Allan Poe?
Yes.
Okay.
Woo. It's kind of fitting with our spooky mood. Okay, I love
spooky.
it.
I've got my Halloween gear on. It says, yes, rain, right on.
We're ready.
Okay. So, what the biggest thing that peeves me off in this episode of Supernatural is that it literally looks like a New Age Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah, that's not accurate.
There are people reading on the streets. There are crowds of people. There are neon signs everywhere. There are modern conveniences like traffic lights. It's ridiculous because we're going to talk about that is not what Lilydale looks like at all. So if you have watched this episode, or if you're going to go and watch this episode, it is not a true...
Don't judge Lilydale by it. Right.
And so I was like, so obviously they film in Vancouver, Supernatural. Mm-hmm. So that's where.
Is that obvious? I didn't know that.
Really? Oh.
I'm not.
You're not a true fan.
I'm not Supernatural's biggest fan. I'm not a member of the fan club.
Right. Exactly. So one of the things that, I like to go through and give a couple little cute tidbits.
Give them to me.
About the episode. So at one point he says when they go to dig up the bones, it's the grave is empty. And he says, we've been heralded.
Okay.
Okay. Do you know what that means?
No.
Okay. So I know what that means because I'm old. So you know who Geraldo Rivera is?
Yeah.
Okay. So in 1986, now think back to television. He did this live broadcast. It was a 2-hour special event on television. I was there. I watched it. Where he was doing this live broadcast where he found this hidden vault in, what was it called? In the Lexington Hotel.
Okay.
Which was owned by Al Capone.
Cool.
Okay. And so they found this hidden vault, and instead of opening it and seeing what it was in it, he was going to do this on live television and show the world this cool, like, historic thing. And when they opened the vault, there was nothing in it. And it was literally like 2 hours of just like
waiting
and building it up, and you opened it. I mean, there was not even a freaking
not a pebble,
not a bottle of beer, nothing.
Ouch.
And so it's kind of like a big joke.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
We've been heralded.
LOL. Right. I'm going to pull that. Here's another thing you can pull out of your pocket.
Useless info. Another thing I bet you did not know.
Okay.
In 1985, the 10,000 Maniacs came out with an album called The Wishing Chair.
Okay.
Number 4 song, titled Lilydale.
Really?
Yes. And you know why? Because the band was from Jamestown, which is 30 minutes outside of Lilydale.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Also where Lucille Ball is from, because we have driven through on our way to Lilydale through Jamestown, and they were having like this big Lucille Ball festival.
No thanks.
Right?
I'll pass.
Okay. So that's the episode. I didn't go through like too deep on it and give too many details.
I think they can go and watch it if they want the whole shebang.
So I want to talk about the real versus the fiction of that episode.
Do it.
Okay. So when you pull up to the gates of Lilydale, it is a small wooden ticket booth, not a strip mall of shops, right? And there's like one person in there, and I don't think they take credit cards. It's like, you better have cash to get in that gate.
Yeah, we haven't been there in a few years. I don't know if they've updated, but it was very old school.
Old school. And so you enter, and it's like another world. Like time has stood still. The buildings are like built in the 1800s. They're little cottages. The roads are barely paved.
It's pretty magical.
It is very... you are going into another world. The outside world, the modern world that we live in, is not visible.
It's a dry town.
It's a dry town. There is no drinking there. There are no televisions. Like, you can't go watch television anywhere. You don't go into the 2 eateries that are on the premises and see big screen televisions everywhere.
Right.
There's none of that. It's all about...
separate. You're kind of...
tapping into...
yes.
The world. There's one little... but they are their own town.
Yeah.
They have a little post office. Mm-hmm. They have a fire station up on the top of the hill.
We've camped right next to it.
We've camped there. They have a community garden that they plant every year where you can help yourself to whatever's in there. Like, you
Love
know,
it.
just help yourself. If you want to go get a zucchini or whatever. The best peaches. I just bought some peaches the other day. And
they suck.
No, because the best peaches I've ever had, Lilydale. right?
Thanks for ruining peaches for us.
Don't think that you're going to Lilydale and it's going to be like a shopping excursion.
No.
Or there's going to be tons of things to do. Take yourself a book.
Relax.
Be ready to chill.
Tune into the energy.
There's one bookstore. It's probably the size of this couch.
I mean, there's more than books in there. There's crystals, but it's not anything huge.
It's very small.
Right.
Very small. I think I've got some magnets there. Lilydale magnets for my...
Got a magnet.
But they'll often have like guest speakers and writers and stuff like that. They have the bargain shop, which kind of reminded me of the Emporium in this episode. It's like a bunch of crap that's like left from it's been there for a long time. It's got a few layers of dust on it. I love it. And we always go in there and we buy peanuts for 50 cents.
You feed squirrels.
And we feed the squirrels because there are a million squirrels on Lilydale.
Yeah.
Right. And then we have the Crystal Cove. Right, which is a gem shop. Like,
oh, right.
Yeah,
that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I was talking about just the bookstore.
I forgot
the
about
little
that,
tiny bookstore. There, don't, take snacks because there's not a lot of places to eat unless you're going to leave the gate. Right, so
then you have to pay for re-entry.
But then you have to pay for re-entry, so we never left the gate. So there used to be a coffee shop called Cup of Joe's or Joe's.
I loved Cup of Joe's.
That is where I was literally turned on to lavender shortbread cookies and lavender lemonade. Oh my gosh, so good.
Delicious.
So I think it is something else now, but there was also the Sunflower Cafe, which was just cafeteria style, and the Pagoda, which was like vegan eats, which I heard they changed to an ice cream shop or something.
That's a bummer.
Yes. So there is one hotel. There's some guest cottages, but one hotel, which is the Maplewood.
Haunted as
It was built in 1880, and I think the back end of it settled into the ground because when you sleep, you're going downhill.
Yeah.
And I think the bedspreads are left from the 1880s.
They're a little itchy. They're a little...
Yeah. They're some sort of odd material that I do not know.
There's a fan.
No AC.
No.
And it's like you share a shower with the whole floor. Communal shower. There's a sign on the door that reads, "No seances, readings, or healings allowed."
Bummer.
Right. And literally everything closes down in that town at like 7, like 6 or 7.
So you have to talk to other people.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to bring up is outside of the Maplewood is this huge wraparound porch. And that's where people gather. And they talk. Hey, they talk to each other.
They have conversations.
And it's conversations. I've had some of the best conversations there because it's like, about moxibustion and seances and Ouija boards and just the coolest stuff.
All walks of life, all very open-minded, all just there to, it's very cool.
Yeah, so you either hang out on the porch or you can go take the ghost tour. Take the ghost tour at night.
We've done it twice.
We've done that twice. Or you can go to the beach and partake in the drum circle. Or
we've done that. I got chewed by mosquitoes.
You sure did.
Really bad.
Yeah. They also have what is it?
Sweat Lodge.
The Sweat Lodge. Yeah, so you can go do that, but pretty much there's nothing happening.
Nothing but classes and
But even the little restaurants close down at like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Have snacks. Very important, people. Have snacks.
That's
and
really what she wants you to
make sure you take some snacks. This is not modern living. I had a friend go there and say, "I hated that place. There were no modern conveniences." And I was like, "Yeah, that's the good part about it,
that's
right?"
The point.
So, some of the other things you might partake in while you're at Lilydale, the Fairy Tale Village. The fairy little village.
Love that. Pet cemetery.
The pet cemetery, and that's not Stephen King's Pet Cemetery, but
it's not spooky.
Yeah, so you go into the Leland Woods, and the first stop on the path is the pet cemetery.
Yeah.
Right. But that was established in 1900, the pet cemetery.
Oh.
And it happened when on the Cassadaga Lake, it was frozen and one of the horses fell through and he died and they buried him up there in the pet cemetery. So established in 1900. So keeping through our path on the Leland Woods is the old growth forest, which is like thousands of years old. And it has like hemlocks, maples, red oaks, white pines, black cherry, cucumber magnolia. And the nice thing is that there are like shepherd's hooks with plaques that tell you all about the plants, which is...
We know you love that.
Right up my alley there. when we travel anywhere, I want to know what's growing.
You sure do.
I'm like, what's growing here? What's your cash crop? I'm like, look it up. What's the cash crop here? So at the end of the trail, you come to the inspiration stump, which is like definitely
the Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail. And that's where mediums gather at Lilydale at 1 and 5:30 every day. And they give spiritual messages from the other side.
Right.
To connect with spirit. So it's very palpable, the energy there.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. And it's named after a sacred pine that was there, that once it died, the stump was there. And so in the 1800s, they used to all, like, stand on the stump.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was starting to rot.
They have pictures of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now they have a gate around it and, like, seats that you go and sit at.
Right.
So now let me get to the Fox sisters.
Okay.
Okay, so we talked about Dean and Sammy going into the museum, right? Mm-hmm. So the Fox sisters, they're real. That's a real part.
They are.
Okay. So there were 3 of them from Hydesville, New York, and they played an important role in the creation of spiritualism. So they were born different times, like 1814 to 1837, and they died in like 1890-92. Margaret was 14 in 1848, and Kate was 10 in 1848. And the 2 of them used to say that they would hear these rappings in the hall, and that spirits were communicating with them.
A rapping at the door?
A rapping at the door, tying it in. And so they became somewhat of a phenomenon. And the eldest sister ended up managing their careers because they became celebrities.
They did.
Right? In 1888, okay, so now 48 to 88.
Okay.
Margaret confesses that it was all a hoax. And that they made it all up by tying a string to an apple and...
Wow. Again, with the girls pulling one over on the entire world. Hilarious.
The following year, she attempted to recant the story, but by this time, their careers were over and washed up. And in fewer than 5 years, all 3 of the sisters had died. Yeah, so despite the confession, the movement continued to grow. It did not stop the spiritualism movement. And funny to me, despite that they are still heralded as... like celebrities, like
yeah. I mean, there's books. Isn't their house like at Lilydale? So the Fox Cottage.
Well, and I will say that when they died, Margaret was an alcoholic, and they died literally in destitution and poverty.
That's really sad.
Yeah. So, but the Fox Cottage that they grew up in was in Hydesville, and that's considered the birthplace of modern spiritualism. And so it was purchased and moved to Lilydale in 1915. Okay. And for preservation and as a memorial, but tragically in 1955 it burnt to the ground. So right now, like when we go there, there's a
marker,
a meditation garden, and a marker of where the house stood.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but the Fox sisters, yes, they were real.
There's books on them if you were interested in this topic.
Oh, absolutely. So a little bit of trivia. The Marion Skidmore Library is up at the top when you first come into Lilydale. Definitely you want to visit there when you go, because it houses, and I don't think I ever appreciated this in all of the years that we have gone there, it houses the largest collection of spiritualist books in the world.
Wow. No, I didn't know that.
Is that crazy?
That's cool.
And I found 2 more spiritualist communities. Mm-hmm. One is the Southern Cassadaga Spiritualist Camp in Florida, and there's a Camp Chesterfield in Indiana. And they're both active and remaining communities.
Okay.
So we kind of touched on it a little bit last week, but Lilydale has had some famous visitors in all of the years that it's been around.
Yeah.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, we talked about. Gandhi.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Mae West was a frequent visitor there, and Susan B. Anthony.
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, Susan B. Anthony was a frequent guest there, and she used to go there and speak on, women's rights.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then of course, Mr. Harry Houdini.
I did know that one. Yeah. Which
So again, we're going to talk on that. But in the 1920s, Harry Houdini made it his mission to expose mediums and seances. He made it his mission, and I think it had something to do once his mother passed away.
Buzzkill.
I know. But he felt like it was taking advantage of people when they were grieving and giving them false hope. And so he made it his mission to expose these charlatans, as he called them. And the funny thing is a lot of times when people would come, when he would come and knock on the doors of the mediums, they would lock their doors and hide.
Oh.
So,
interesting.
Yeah. Now, there are a lot of books. One you used to read when you were a teenager.
Yeah, I pulled it up. So if you have kids and you are interested in mediums or Lilydale or this topic at all, and you want them to maybe learn, there's a book series called Lilydale. I believe there's 4 of them. Lilydale Awakening, Believing, Connecting, and Discovering by Wendy Corsi, and I loved them.
Yeah, you really did like
it's
those.
It's about a young medium who lives in Lilydale. So if you're, you want to teach your youngins.
Your youngins. And there's also one that I really enjoyed. It was one of the first ones I read. I think came out in 2003. It's called Lilydale, The True Story of the Town That Talks to the Dead by Christine Wicker.
Okay.
And then there's also one on the Fox Sisters. I think we have that. But we also made our screen debut.
We did. We're famous.
Because when we were, was it the first year we were there?
Very first year.
The very first year we had gone to Lilydale, which was in 2010 when this aired.
Whoa.
So we have been going there for a long time.
I feel old. Okay.
I do feel old. HBO was there filming a documentary.
They were.
And it was fascinating. That was the best
Maybe
trip.
We'll do a separate episode if you want our stories, like our personal stories. That would be cool.
But in that documentary, which is titled No One Dies in Lilydale, you can see our hats make an appearance.
This hat, if you're watching on YouTube, this hat that I wear all the time, you can see it bob through a crowd, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm famous.
So you've literally had the hat for ever.
Yeah.
The other thing is that I thought was really interesting is the Campbell brothers. They were real.
Oh, really?
Yeah, except they weren't brothers. So in the episode of Supernatural, they ask who they are, and he says, "Oh, that's the Campbell brothers," but they weren't really brothers. That was the identity they took because they were a couple, but it just was not, accepted in that time period, and that is true. Wow. They were real. They were real people, and they were a couple, and they performed as brothers.
I did not know about that. I'm gonna have
interesting?
I would love to learn more about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that is what I have to say about Lilydale. What do you think?
I love Lilydale, and I find it to be fascinating and beautiful and so magical, and so I'm glad that you shared that.
Yeah. Hopefully it gives people a better idea of what a spiritualist community is and how you can just go and visit there even though it's a place where people live.
Right.
Yeah. So if you go there other than June through September, you're not going
it's going to be like a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are mediums and you can get private readings. So if you don't want to go to one of the stump readings or something like that, I think there's 40 registered mediums right now.
Wow.
And they charge between $80 and $100 for a 30-minute reading. Yeah.
Yeah. I would encourage, again, kind of weird times right now, but I would encourage everyone to go.
Oh my gosh.
I think we should honestly try to go and do a meetup one year and maybe film there.
That would be awesome.
Super magical. It's an energy there unlike anything I have experienced for sure.
I mean, we literally could do an entire episode on
just our
stories.
Yeah, if you were interested in that, I think that would be super cool. That would be a cool one-off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool. We have met some of the coolest people there.
It is really,
and have just had some really phenomenal experiences there.
Yeah. would highly recommend. Learn about it. Pick up some of these books, maybe.
Yeah.
Go watch that documentary so you can.
Dude, it's great.
Oh my God! Screenshot
if you see. I think I have a blue. I have a blue hat. A blue hat on.
You have a blue hat on, and I have my gray knit hat on. And if you see us, screenshot it, and I'll send you like an Uncle Bob sticker because I find it hilarious. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It brought back some good memories.
Oh, I know. We've had some really just wonderful, awesome times there. I love that place. We haven't been there in a couple years. The last time we were there is when I was teaching an herbalism class.
Yeah, we need to get back.
Yeah, it's been about 2 years, I think.
I know.
We used to try to go almost every year, so.
We'll get there.
We'll get there, girl.
Maybe with some of you guys.
Yeah.
All right, up top.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I love this.
I love this too.
This was a good one.
I know.
Yes.
Love the vibe. Love the vibe. We're going to introduce a little new segment.
Are we?
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to end each episode now with a segment called Killer Quote of the Week. Ooh. And it makes me want to do like a...
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we need a theme song for Killer Quotes of the Week.
I said it was like Wayne's World.
I know. Wayne's World. We're each going to pick a quote. We're not going to explain it, but we're just going to leave you with it. With some words of wisdom.
Words to wisdom.
Yeah. It could pertain to our topic. It doesn't have to. And then, that's what we're going to leave you with. So mine.
Okay.
This week is all that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. And that is Edgar Allan Poe.
Ah, I like it.
Yes.
Okay, here's my quote.
Okay.
There's fake woo-woo crap, and then there's real woo-woo crap. Dean Winchester.
Oh, my God. Thank you, Supernatural. Okay.
Thank you, Supernatural.
Thanks for putting that. Love it. All right.
All right. So, now, TTFN.
All right.
Right on?
Right on. Cut print. Check the gate. Moving on.